Two people, a guy and a woman. I could tell a guy and a woman the same information. For some reason, a woman gonna run it faster. She gonna go ahead and find the house faster. She gonna buy the house faster. She gonna fix it up fast. She gonna do everything faster. The only problem is a lot of women be ready to go ahead and take things to the next level, but then there might be some things inside the house that might mess stuff up.
If you even think of a movie or anything, it's always the same timeline. Like the woman is so driven, and she is CEO, and she so successful, but she miserable, she lonely, because everybody that I am now, like the person I am now, it all shaped me. Like, even though it was terrible, but it shaped me. Like, it made me the woman that I am. I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm nervous as hell. I just came out of this big transitional period of my life, and I was terrified to tell people I got the daycare.
Because it would just happen.
I was scared. Like, it was to the point where my friends, when I announced it, it was like,
I think sometimes you have to do stuff like that. Yeah. Because for a couple different reasons. One, you put something out there that you're not fully 100% complete with. Not even just complete physically, but complete with yourself. You're not 100% sure about it because you're taking a chance. But then second,
entrepreneurship, being a hustler, being a person that know how to get to it, everybody is just not going to understand that. No. And if you have that conversation with the wrong person, not only can it make you doubt yourself, they just not gonna understand. That's why you have to create spaces with people that's like-minded.
That's a fact.
If you can fight your way through a storm, like really weather a storm, it don't last as long as we think it's gonna last.
It never do. It never
like
do.
It'd be bad, but it'd be like, if you sit and do nothing at all, then it's gonna last. During the pandemic, I never took an SBA loan. Like,
that probably worked out in your favor.
It worked out in my favor. I don't even think I probably would have been eligible for SBA loan.
Yeah, going from renting to owning, especially at that level, it takes a lot of courage, and I think a lot of people don't really go to that next level because they're scared to switch gears or get into a new lane. But that new lane is probably what's going to 10x you. So
we have this I gotta go get it mentality because.
Welcome back to the Funded and Closed podcast, and welcome if this is your first time ever watching. As you guys know, if you don't know, I started this podcast specifically for individuals that want to learn, and want to grow, they want to make more money, or just do different things outside of what they're doing right now. I started my entire real estate journey from getting in different rooms, but first the room I set up for myself was in my car listening to podcasts on my way back and forth to work. So I wanted to put together something that helped me. And also, when I was listening to a lot of podcasts, when I first got started, a lot of people were talking about how they started out with a $5 million retirement account. They started out with, their husband was already $1 billion, all this type of stuff. And then that's how they got started. And I understand everybody not in that same situation. So I don't want to have that block where like, dang, I can't relate to this. This is not for me. So I talked to 6, 7, 8, 9-figure individuals that started a business, real estate, whatever kind of company they have, but they started from the ground up. So today is like none other. I'm super excited, as I'm always am, because the people I bring on here are people that I actually know, I actually done business with, I actually communicate with, and we have regular conversations outside of just this exact podcast. So I only bring people that's like premium people. Everything got to be premium. So without further ado, I want to introduce someone, a good friend, good business owner, doing a lot of amazing things. And then she's doing a lot of amazing things for women, which I'm excited to have a conversation about as well. What's going on, Katrina?
Hey,
how you feeling? How you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you actually came up here because I think we had a lot of men guests. We had some women guests as well. I personally think, and this might be a little biased, not biased, but some men might feel some type of way, but I think women are way better than men on an aspect, a lot of different aspects, but especially business and just professionalism in general. Like, for example, everybody on my team is women.
That's Jalen Hurts. You see with Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, well, not everybody, my guy, man, but like a lot, 80, 90% of people on my team are women.
Yeah.
Because y'all use both sides of the brain and y'all move with urgency, y'all move with speed. Yeah. But and then also the people I help with in real estate, like let's say it's two people, a guy and a woman. I could tell a guy and a woman the same information. For some reason, a woman gonna run it faster. She gonna go ahead and find the house faster. She gonna buy the house faster. She gonna fix it up fast. She gonna do everything faster. The only problem is, right, this is the only problem, to be honest with you. Only problem with women in the business field, as soon as like something is like got your head messed up, that's when it starts slowing down. That's the only thing I say. Emotions. That's the only thing. Like I have a Zoom. No lie, listen to this. I had this Zoom call, and it was like this woman. She was on there. She was telling us, "Oh, I just did this. I just did this. I bought this house. Did the boom, boom, boom." And it was like the Zooms for a couple of weeks. And then I was like, "Yo, how things going this week?" I kind of like just put things on pause. Like, why you put things on pause? It's just some stuff going on. I'm just like, no, keep it going. Like, keep it going. And also sometimes, and I think it's good for, also what we're about to talk about, later on. But this is the craziest thing I seen was I'm on a Zoom call teaching people, about real estate and stuff. And then this lady, she was on a Zoom call 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks in a row outside. These Zooms is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. So I'm like, I'm like, why you always outside? I didn't know it was going to get deep as it was. Sometimes you just say something like, why you always outside? In front of everybody. And then she was just like, because my husband don't agree with me, learning new things. She didn't say learning new things. She said, investing with other people outside of college to learn new game. Learn new things.
That's a thing.
So she was like, I had to take these, I'm doing these classes with you outside. Wow. And it was just like, dang, she was like, yeah, so I do it outside, tell them I'm just going for a walk or whatever she said. And then she just come back in. And we helped to do a lot of great things. But the point I'm trying to make is like, dang, a lot of women be ready to go ahead and take things to the next level. But then there might be some things inside the house that might mess stuff up. And it's just crazy, but
that's a whole nother conversation too, because as women, especially successful women, we have a hard time in relationships because men don't, some men love having women that's powerful, that's goal driven or family oriented. They love go-getter chicks, right? But then you have some where they just want their woman. They don't want you to do anything. They want you to listen to them. They don't believe in you. They believe the man is supposed to be the dominated one in the relationship, the most financially secure. That bull is ego. So it's hard sometimes, people can get through it, but it is difficult. It's challenging for a lot of women. Because if you think about it, think of like that movie Being Mary Jane. Like anytime you see in any movie, the woman where she's like that girl, she always have a hard time. She have a hard time.
Dwayne Wade wife. What's her name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, yeah.
Anytime, if you even think of a movie or anything, it's always the same timeline. Like the woman is so driven, and she a CEO, and she so successful, but she miserable, she lonely because it's hard to find that compatibility.
I think it's because, and I want to get into what the stuff you got started with, but I want to touch on this. I think personally it's because of not just social media, but just social standards set. Like, for example, I could personally be cool with you driving, right? But then we pull up in front of my homie's house or something like that, and I get out the passenger like, "Damn, ain't your girl drive you around?" Man, let me drive back because I don't want to look like that. Or like, I could personally be cool with you paying. I could pay every bill, and then you pay this one bill that's $40, and then other people around, they like, "Damn, your girl pay the bill." It's like, no, wait. It's not even just an inner thing. Some of it inner thing, don't get it twisted. But then some of it is because of how it may look for everybody else. Yeah. And that's what, believe it or not, this is real. Women are more sensitive across a range of things, but men are more sensitive to specific things. Yeah. Like y'all might have 20 things y'all sensitive about. Men, we might have 3, but those 3 is like life or death, like super life or death. Yeah. So that's what my opinion with that. So I want to touch on, so you successful entrepreneur, you've done a lot of different things, but I want to touch on like where you from, how you got started. I know you I'll let you go and share that. Yo, I know you're enjoying this episode. I know you're getting a lot of game and a lot of value, a lot of information, but is it okay for me to give you even more value? Is it okay for me to give you more information? So if you just said yes, what I want to do is I want to give you access to a free training that I'm having, 100% free. You can log in. If you don't like, you can log off. It's 100% free. In this training, I'm going to show you guys the 4 steps that I utilize to be able to buy properties, rent properties, make money on property. Like this building we're in right now is 100% mine. And we do that. And I have done that doing those 4 simple steps. So what I want you guys to do is go to fundedandclosed.com, just like the podcast, but fundedandclosed.com. And you're going to be able to register for the free training. Like I said, 100% free. And it's going to give you those 4 steps that I utilize to build my real estate empire. And you can do this exactly where you at right now. So look, we're going to get back to the episode. But before we go ahead and finish, press pause, go to that website, go ahead and RSVP for the training. And I'm going to see you soon. Let's get to it.
Yep. So I'm from Philadelphia, from the hood, if you want to call it, you know, come from the projects, single parent household. Same sad story that a lot of us girls from Philly have, but it's only a few of us that really make it out. Grew up in North Philly. Went to school, went to college, completed college. I started as an intern right out of college for the Philadelphia Housing Authority. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So I started working there as an intern at the age of 17. And I actually, my first career out of college was with them. So I actually ended up working with them for a total of 10 years.
Okay.
I worked from 17 to 27. So I actually started off with a really strong career and expertise of just working with real estate. So, you know, back then when people were trying to figure out how to get on Section 8 and how to get in these properties. So I lived in PHA and I also worked for PHA. So right out of college, boom, they start you off for like 55 grand. So I'm like 21 making 55 grand.
That's good money. What year is this?
2000. Oh my goodness. Let me say.
Damn, told your age.
For a long time. A long time. I'll be 40 this year. I'm proud of my age. I look good.
You be how old this year?
40.
Word.
Yeah. So long story short, I worked there 10 years and I learned a lot working. I actually worked right under a lot of the big bosses. Okay. So I work for what they call public housing. I worked in Section 8. I learned about the voucher programs. I used to take all of the intake information from the landlords when they come in. I knew about the inspections. I pretty much knew everything. And then I ended up becoming a property manager.
Oh, that's dope.
I was a property manager for Bartram first. I know you're familiar with Bartram Village, so you had to have a tough background working with those people in there. They have like over 500 tenants. And then I eventually worked and ran my own property, which was 2 senior developments. Fast forward, I went through some drama there. PHA was doing a layoff, but I actually got laid off wrongfully because of another woman.
Dang.
Yeah, she didn't care for me. She just said, "Oh, you think you're doing too good at your job, basically, and you think you're cute, so you gotta go."
You know, I heard that kind of story from I know one person that like I legit seen with my own eyes.
After 10 years of being here and doing great at my job.
That's sad.
I wake up one day to just like being laid off. My son was only like 1 and you know, I was hurt. I was in my feelings. I'm like, you know, I gave this job my all. This is my first job out of college. Boop, 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 you know. But then, you know what? I just was like, you know what? I'm not going back. And I'm actually not going to work for anybody else either. I was that hurt that I made it like, so you know how they talk about women being emotional?
Yeah.
For me, I'm a different type of emotional. When I get mad and something hurt me, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's just, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm never going back to any job. Fast forward, I was married at the time. I had a 1-year-old, and I was like, I'm not going back to work. So I know a little bit about the unsupportiveness, you know, just it's not for everybody. Entrepreneurship, taking risks, being a hustler, it's just not for everybody. You know, I was born to hustle. I've been working since I was 14. So I just know how to get it by any means necessary. Yeah. It's something that's just within you for some people. Yeah, like regardless of what you have, it's just going to be in you. So I took actually my 401k.
That's smart.
Took my 401k,
That's super smart.
which I didn't have much. I didn't have much. because they were supposed to match what I had inside. But I was only at the job for a total, although I was there for 10 years, I was a full-time employee, maybe 6 or 7, because the other years was spent on internship.
So they didn't even count that.
It just was, so I only was able to get out what I put in. So it was only about 20,000.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of times with jobs, they would match it, but when you retire, they match what you put in.
Yeah.
But I got laid off, so I was able to get my money back. People thought I was crazy as hell for taking that money out. They're like, you just taking your...
If you invested, why? What was crazy about it?
Because everybody's not entrepreneurs.
People don't think.
Right?
Think from a scarcity.
Because, you can take your 401k and roll it to it. Like, say if I start going to another job, if I got hired somewhere else, I could have rolled it over. But I never went back to work. I knew in my mind I wasn't going back to work.
Yeah. I
was like, I'm not going back. So I took that money. It was maybe about $20K. And I withdrew it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my $20K and do something with it. I actually started off being an event planner. Very successful at event planning.
Were you good before, prior to that, or you just...
No, one day I just decorated somebody's party. They asked me to decorate. They was like, oh, your house always looks nice. You look stylish. And I was like, all right, cool. I have no background decorating. So I was like, I'm just going to decorate, right? Decorate. It like took off to the point where it was like, I was having 50 events a year. It was to the point I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is too much. And
this all referrals type of stuff?
Yeah. Once you start, yeah.
That's
pretty much referrals, and social media was out, but it was like not as right now. Everything is algorithms and just that. It was organic. So it was like, and I knew a lot of people, already. So it was just like, okay, I'm just going to start doing these parties and events. I was booked every weekend to the point where I started doing NFL players, politicians,
that's lit,
athletes. I had all the top-notch players, literally. Like, I was doing events, like I was signing PDAs. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing half the time, but I was just like, it was happening so fast. I was like, oh my goodness. So my team grew. We started traveling, and then next thing you know, I crashed out. I burnt out. I was like, oh my God, the demand is so high. I don't even know what to do with it. I was like, this is crazy. I can't handle all these events. But I was trying to get all the money. Yeah. I wanted the money. But I started to see that my quality, what I wanted to deliver, I couldn't. Because I just didn't have the demand. And it's like my first year being an entrepreneur. Yeah. Right? So I'm designing these events. I'm like, you know what? My son at the time was small. I'm buying him takeout every day. I'm not home. I hated that for me. I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't aspire to be that type of mom. And I'm married. I don't even aspire to be that type of wife. So the balance between like being a woman, a mom, a wife, and trying to be an entrepreneur, it's like, how you do it all?
That's all full-time jobs.
Literally four different full-time jobs. So I was like, I gotta figure something out. This is burning me out. I'm not spending no time with my child. I'm not spending no time with my man. And I'm tired. I'm making the money, but really it's not. I almost like it wasn't enough. Like the money was like
based on the time you put in.
Yeah, like it's like, what am I doing this for? So one day I was like, you know what? I'm taking my 401k and I'm opening up an event space. And the reason why, I know you have an event space. So back then there was nothing like what I opened.
Yeah, you was early on. I didn't even know.
I opened my space in 2016.
I didn't even know who you was. I just knew I knew about the space.
Everybody knew about my space.
How did you pronounce it?
Petite Fat.
All right, I said it right. But everybody knew about the space. I didn't know who you were. I just knew about the space.
Yeah. So I opened up Petite Fat. Petite Fat came from wanting to do something different. But what I found was that my clients, it was a cycle. I do the baby showers. I did the weddings. Or I did the bridal showers. Then I did the weddings. Then I get pregnant. They come right back to me. So I would have repeat clients. They never, because they comfortable. They gonna keep coming back. Right. Bridal showers, wedding, baby shower. Or wedding, skip the bridal shower, or just the wedding, baby shower. They coming right back. People typically get pregnant right after they get married, like within a year or two. Oh, Katrina, hey, we're pregnant. We're so excited. Can you help us? Can you help us find a space? This was literally the whole time. We just got married. We just spent all this money. We just need something where we could just gather for family and friends.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
They burnt out from spending the money. They still trying to get acquainted with being married. And now they want to have something, but they don't want to do what they just did. Spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. They want just something where they can gather that's nice, that they can bring food and their family and friends, right? I start looking around Philly. Only thing I'm finding is full service venues. The couple spots I would find that would let you bring it was community centers. My clients was a community centers clients.
Premium.
But they didn't want to do what they just did.
Yeah.
They needed something right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna create it.
That's smart.
I said, I'm gonna give them what they want. Open Petite Fete. I had 20K.
This was where was this at?
Southwest, 50 from Baltimore.
Southwest. I thought it was just west. I got you.
I still got that building.
For real? That's dope.
That's where my salon suites are.
Okay.
I'm the pivot queen. You're gonna learn that about me.
How many suites is there?
3.
3 suites. That's smart. So you transition from the event space. So first off, how long was you doing the event space business?
So I'm gonna finish the timeline so you can understand. All right. So opened the venue, boom, 2016. Looking all over, but the venue was owned by my brother-in-law. Well, something like my brother-in-law, right? He like, yeah, I'm doing the space over. You can rent the commercial space. I'm like, cool, make event space. And there, open. I always knew how to designed it beautiful. Put the flowers on the wall.
Yeah, the floral stuff that was hot.
Yep, I did the whole thing. I picked out all my finishes, designed my bathroom. I just always was a floral girl. So from event design, I just always take my brand all the way across the board.
That's smart.
I never change my brand, regardless of what I'm doing. It always aligned. When somebody see my stuff, they said, I know it's hers, right? So opened the event space. I had 20K. I ain't have enough though. I need a little bit more.
For the event space?
I feel like, yeah.
What he had to gut it out, or it was pretty much?
It's just, no, I bought Chivalry chairs, tables.
I mean, everything. Doing too much.
Well, at the time, I'm coming from, but you figure my stuff was premium. I had 50, 60.
I'm just messing with you. You started making,
but I bought all brand new everything. Everything was brand new. That's the way I like to deliver my stuff.
That's good though.
Right? Open the space. I mean, you talking about 2016, open the space. The first,
you probably had the first event space in the city.
The first best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That first year, we used to have 4 events a weekend, right? The space was only 1,200 square feet. So I had 4 events a weekend, charging $700 for just a rental. So I was making, let's say, so what?
Like 2,800.
2,800 plus I decorated. So I was some weekends I was making $5,000.
That's good.
In 2016.
That's good. That's good money in 2016.
What?
That's good money now, but that's great money back in 2016.
A weekend, and so $20,000 a month. Yeah. Right. But let me tell you about how because I didn't have enough money, I did this thing called crowdfunding, and I got talked about so bad because I did Indiegogo. What's the crowdfunding name? So basically, it was like, all right, you give me $5, I'll give you a thank you card. You give me $10, I'll give you a bottle of wine. You give me $500. You can use it's for an event. Typically, event is $700, but for $500, you can have it, but you can use it anytime within the first year of me being opening.
Like pre-sale, like specials.
Kinda, yeah. But people looked at it like it was begging, but it's really a creative way to market your space before it opens.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you don't think that because you're a hustler and you see but you got talking about from people from the outside looking in Philadelphia, and it's something that never been done before. Yeah. Right?
I think it's all about how you word and how you position.
No, it was worded very nice. Like,
it's I'm talking about in general. People like you could tell somebody, yo, I'm gonna give you a bag of chips, whatever. But then if it's worded different, like, I feel like I'm getting finessed. It's just all about how it's worded. So people receive stuff so weird.
While it was definitely not people favorite, I had a lot of support.
That's all that matters.
I had a lot of support. I want to say I raised like $10,000.
That's good.
from people, family, friends. Some people was giving me 100, 500. Some people gave me $1,000 that I didn't even know.
That's dope.
But they
That's
just
dope.
supported the dream. And mind you, I always showed me working and hustling, so they know I'm not just out here about to take no money. I put it back into the space. I'm also a person that put back into my community. So it's just like, all right, I'm a helper, right? We get open 4 events a weekend, sometimes during the week, Thursdays too, because we ain't have no dates. People cannot get in the building. It was just like, I cannot believe this. This is insane. The first year, man, I really feel like in that little teeny space, I probably made $150,000.
That's dope.
In that little space
dope.
that I begged for people money for, and took my 401k, and I made that money right back.
That's dope.
So I opened the space in 2016. We was open pretty much. The demand was so high is when I opened up Petite Fête 2. You remember that one?
That's in East Falls or something like that. Yeah.
So I opened up Petite Fête 2. That was the bigger space because one thing about me, if people come into my space and they say like, oh, we can't do it because it's too small, I don't turn away. No, I don't like to turn away money. I'm going to create a space. So now I'm going to give you a big space. So now I got a small space and a big space. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they come to me, oh, that's too small. Oh, you can go to my second space. It's a little up the ways, but we got parking. Yeah. You could do this, you could do that. It's beautiful. So both venues rolling at this point.
That's dope.
I got this one over here, the small one. Then I got the big one. The big one, I had a partner. And it was cool. It was cool. But, I'm not a partner girl. I learned through that. We ain't have no bad experience with my partners though, but it's just, it was just too much. Yeah. Because ultimately it's my business. So I was the one
but you
always making sure everything was right.
And stuff from a whole nother person, but you're the expert.
Yeah, because they don't see them. They see me. They're like, this is your venue, and it's my name. It's my LLC. It's my everything. Fast forward, pandemic come. So I'm like, all right, Petite 2 gotta go because rent was $3,500 and nobody can have events. Yeah. So they had to go first. Petite 1, actually, I lost Petite 1. Dang. Like through a L&I issue. Like I woke up one day, the whole venue was locked.
L&I came and locked everything. Well, the owner locked the doors up.
No. L&I came and the mortgage wasn't getting paid.
Oh. Yeah. So you was double screwed.
Bad, John. First time ever. Like the biggest L of my whole entrepreneurship. Damn. L. Everybody that was booked had to give me money back. It's all over social media. L&I, she knew this and she still was having a party. She this, and she still was taking people with the pot. Now, why would I do that? Yeah, it was bad. So that kind of go back to our initial conversation where I was telling you why I didn't really want to be on the forefront for a long time. Because that stung me. It'd be like, it was so bad. And we live in a place where things is just...
It's a small world, small city.
It's hard sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And that L was like terrible because any money I had, like I was living off that money, and I can honestly say my venue money, like I wasn't as strategic as I am now. Like I wasn't saving on my bread. I was making sure my rent was paid. I could do the things around the business, but it wasn't like stack your bread. No. So when I took that loss, it was a public loss, and I had to give all the people their money back. I had to publicly close my venue. Devastated. That's my heart. I was devastated. First brick and mortar, I was like hurt. So that's like 2019 that happened, and then pandemic happened 2020. So basically between 2019 and 2020, I was in this huge transitional space of my life.
Both places got shut down.
It was just bad.
And it was a different space for just the world itself. So you was getting hit in 3 different ways.
It was a lot. And I was going through a divorce.
In 4 different ways.
Yeah, it was bad. So I always tell people, like, my life experience, like, everything, everybody that I am now, like the person I am now, it all shaped me. Like, even though it was terrible, but it shaped me. Like, it made me the woman that I am. So I'm like, now I ain't got too much bread left. I probably had like 15,000 left total, all in my account. Like, mind you, I was used to be having like a lot of money. 15,000 to me look poor. I know some people today would love to have 15,000, but for me, from where I was coming from, that was bad. But mind you, that's all I had, so it was going away. I was paying bills off of it, but I don't got nothing coming in. Paying bills, feeding my kids.
It was just depleting.
It was just depleting. So I had a girlfriend. She like, Trine, you know, I was going through it. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. She like, Trine, you good at everything. Don't let it like, you know, get to you. I'm like, yo, I don't know what to do. She's like, I got this daycare. I was going to get it, but something happened. I want you to take a look at it. I think you'd be great in daycare. So
and you don't have no experience in daycare before this?
None. So I was like, no. She's like, come on, just take a look at it. Whatever. She like, the rent $2,000 is fully done. She said the building fully done.
I like that.
I mean, when I say fully done, I mean like furniture, books, diapers, everything, because somebody else was supposed to open it, couldn't get it open, but they just walked away from the whole project.
Kids can start tomorrow.
Basically, like after you get licensed,
right.
You could just walk in. So I'm like, I don't know, man. She's like, you great with kids, you great with people. Don't let whatever get you know, don't let your current circumstances like, you know. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a look. So I talked to my folks at the time, and I'm talking to, you know, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna take, you know, I would need $6,000 to move in. So
the first line of security. Yep.
And then, you know, whatever little small things I would need to do. So I'm like, well, all right, let's do it. You know, I'm gonna go over there, take a look at it. Beautiful daycare. I'm just gonna do it. Figure it out. Cause I'm like, where can I go from here? She's showing me her numbers. She like, you Trine, I make $50,000-$60,000 a month. So
I'll take that.
So I'm like,
And this at her daycare.
She's telling me she was making $50,000-$60,000 at her daycare.
The daycare she already had.
Yeah. And she was just showing me the numbers of what I could possibly make there. She was like, this is what you get paid. This is the overhead. She breaking it all down to me. She just randomly schooling me. Shout out to Whitney. Makes sense. Yeah. That's it was just like, all right, I'm just going push. And I start talking to my other friend that's like my big sister, Amina. You know Felicia that on Amina.
I don't know her, but I know the place.
She been in childcare for like 20 years.
For real?
That's what she did before a restaurant. So I reach out to her, ask for her help. You know, at this point, I'm like, I got to pull on my resources because I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm nervous as hell. I just came out of this big transitional period of my life. I don't even know what to do, but I'm gonna have some faith and I'm fresh. I always had a relationship with God, but I wasn't definitely like asking God. I was just like, I was praying, like, give me something, but it wasn't like that. I was still making my own decisions, but at the same time, I was like nervous. It was like that in between. It was just, everything was just chaotic. So I did it. I pulled the trigger on the daycare or whatever. At the time, I probably had $12,000. I remember giving 6 on there, 6 left. I'm like, how am I about to live off this 6? I'm going to figure it out. You know, only the first 4 was done. So I put a whole game plan together. One thing about me, I'm going to sit down and write everything out. I'm going to write it all out.
That's me for sure.
I write out everything because my brain don't cut off. So I have to like dispose it into something, even if it's on a piece of paper, notes. I never looked
at it like that. My brain I got to dispose of it. I just like writing down stuff. Not even in the phone. I got to like.
But like you got to dump it because if you're a creative and you're a person that like you could be right now sitting there talking to me and think about something. But you get distracted, like because somebody called your phone or something. You got like for me, I sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, 2, 3, I'm writing stuff in my notes. I got to get it out because if it's like I feel like it's an incomplete, you know, like task in my brain or whatever. It's like tabs open. They used to say like we got all these tabs. That's how I feel sometimes. Like I just got tab over on this. I want to do this. I want to do that on top of your personal life. It just be so much going on. So I got to get it out. So open a daycare. And I was terrified to tell people I got the daycare.
Because of what just happened.
I was scared. Like, it was to the point where my friends, when I announced it, it was like, when did this happen? I'm like, I just did it.
I think sometimes you have to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because for a couple different reasons. One, you put something out there that you're not fully 100% complete with. Not even just complete physically, but complete with yourself. You're not 100% sure about it because you're taking a chance. But then second, I think we not as strong as we think we are.
No, for sure.
So you might talk to the wrong person, right? And they get you to not actually want to finish up with your thought or finish up with your idea. My friend say this all the time. He say, don't say stuff to stinking thinking people. People that don't think right, and you say something to them, and then they start throwing it back to you. You sure about this? You sure about this?
And now you unsure.
Now you like, man, they might gotta
exactly.
Hold up. My friend said this all the time.
Your brain.
When the hell this happened? Like, I'll literally invite somebody to, or I start posting something. They be like, wait, that's yours? Yeah. Wait, whoa. When you get that? When you do that? Like, I'm, and this might go to like the relationship stuff, but like, I'm me personally, I'm super bad at that. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I use mobile notaries. Like, when I was married, it would be times where I had a notary come and I was like, why is she here again? I bought a house today. Like, my fault.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
that's
be
terrible.
Saying, yeah, that's bad. But I don't say nothing because I don't like throwing stuff out there until it's done.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of situations where I put stuff out there and it didn't happen and you look like, what happened with such and such?
Yeah.
And
you know, a lot of people don't really understand your way of thinking. You know, entrepreneurship, being a hustler, being a person that know how to get to it, everybody is just not going to understand that.
No.
And if you have that conversation with the wrong person, not only can it make you doubt yourself, they just not going to understand. That's why you have to create spaces with people that's like-minded.
That's a fact.
You know, because at the end of the day, you call me and tell me you bought a 30-unit apartment. I ain't gonna tell you crazy, but you're somebody who thinks is out of this world is gonna be like, boom, you tripping.
Yeah.
You dumped all your bread into that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, you gonna get it back.
Yeah.
So, you know, it really just depends on a lot of things. You know, your network is your network.
Yeah.
Your circle,
that's a
for
fact.
sure. It's like,
environment is the most important thing. I believe it's mindset, learn to earn. You gotta make sure your mindset right. Then you learn the information that you earn. But in order to get your mindset right, so I always say you need to set goals, but a lot of people set goals but don't set resources.
Yep.
So like I could say, I want to get funded $100,000, but the resources you getting credit repair, so you can do that. Hey, I want to buy 10 houses this year. Well, the resources is getting a realtor or getting a lender and stuff like that, or getting the contractors. So we gotta set the resources. So for example, hey, I want to get myself to a new mindset. Well, your resource need to be podcasts, networking events, different people, different friends. Like I said before, I got serious with real estate. My car was a studio. I was listening to every podcast you could think of. My car, I had a 30 minute drive up, a 30 minute drive back. I didn't even listen to music that whole year. That's why I was saying some people I can't even listen to no more. Like it's too much in my brain. I can't listen to it no more. But you got to do that though.
I think everything goes, you know, what you feed your mind is very important. Not just the conversations you have, definitely what you listen to, but even the things that you read. Sometimes, you know, people are too consumed with social media, especially now, too consumed with what this person is doing, what this person not doing. You know, you just got to focus on yourself. I think for me, one of the big things, I've never really been like, you know, this sound crazy, but I really don't care what nobody else is doing. I'll be so disconnected from things. It's like, I'll be so late. I'm late to everything.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm late to every trending thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm always worried about what I got going on. Literally, I have so much going on. How do you have time to even think about, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more stuff that I want to do. Like, sometimes I was just saying, I got to find time to, like, read books. Because I be wanting to read the books.
Hey, so I know you're enjoying the episode so far, and you're probably hearing some of the plays, but you might be like, my credit isn't there. I don't have the best credit. I may not be able to run some of the plays they're saying. So what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity for free credit repair. I said it, 100% free credit repair. I'm going to drop the website below where you can go ahead and get your credit repaired for free. All you have to do is have the credit monitoring software so that way you can pull your reports and this will be fixed for free. All you have to do is go to nochargecreditrepair.com. It is 100% free. All you have to do is have the credit monitoring software so you can actually pull the report and actually see what the score is on all 3 bureaus. And then this system is going to fix your credit for free. So again, nochargecreditrepair.com, and you guys can get access to that. Look, there is no reason why you can't win. This is the link for you to get your credit repaired. You're watching a podcast episode where it's showing you how to make money, how to get funded. There's no reason why you can't win. So go ahead and click the link, pause this episode, go ahead and sign up, and then get back to the episode and keep learning, keep winning, keep growing. Let's get it. You can be late to every part as long as you're on time for yourself.
Listen.
That's all that matters.
You got to be so locked in with your goals and the things that you want that everything else, like outside of your family, your relationship with God, your kids, your business, nothing else really matters. It really doesn't. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people find a hard time to, like, they be like, I'm just always in this stuck phase. Like, I can't get over the hump. I can't. What are you doing to get over it? You don't have to stay in a down forever. Literally, my life is a roller coaster. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And my thing is, even when I'm down, it's always like very short time. I'm never staying down forever. Honestly, I'm at this point where I don't even want to be ever down again because you got to take all your experiences from over your life, every loss, every heartbreak, every this, every that, and put it into like a box to be like, okay, I'm not making that mistake no more. I'm not doing that no more. Some things, like even though with the venue, I woke up and randomly closed, right? And I tried to blame him for so long. Although some of it was his fault, some of it was also mine. Because one of the reasons we got shut down through Illinois was the fire alarm system. I had a pull station on the wall, but I never pulled the pull station to realize there wasn't even no fire alarm system in there. But that's what happens when you just go and open up something and you don't educate yourself. You don't really find the help. Now, that was a trusted person, so I didn't feel like, but a lot of times when people go through these really hard mistakes and these things, it's like, you got to take accountability, like where you fell short.
Well, Smith said it's not your fault something happened to you, but it's your responsibility.
Yeah, like where did you fall short? What didn't you do to prevent this? Because I tell you this, moving forward, everything that I ever been through, I'm never going to do it again. Yeah. I'm never going to see the same thing twice. Not saying that some stuff ain't going to come up because it will, but I'm not going to see the same situation twice. It might be some new stuff, but even with that, it's like, every time, like I just signed the lease for something, and the way I looked through that lease was just like insane because I already know, like from my previous experience.
Wisdom.
Listen,
that's wisdom.
Knowledge.
But not even just the knowledge, but the wisdom. Like I've been through this already. Like this ain't nothing new. Like I already got finessed already.
Like I'm a hit. Yup, I'm a hit of the game now.
You can't get over on me no more because I already been through it too many times. And a couple things you said, you was like you don't stay down for too long. I think when you're in the thick of something, when you're in the middle of the storm, it always seems longer than what it actually is. Like when you look back, a lot of people might be down for a month, 6 months, a year, maybe a year, 2 years. Yeah. But when you think about life over a span, like a 10-year, like you really only in a bad space for a year out of 10 years. Like, but when you in the thick of things, it seems worse.
It do.
And when you put yourself in that, it's worse in that victim mode. That's what really make it go longer than that because you letting it drag on. But when you realize, like, man, let me get up out of this thing. Like,
yo, if you can fight your way through a storm, like really weather a storm, it don't last as long as we think it's gonna last.
It never do. It never
like
do.
It be bad, but it be like if you sit and do nothing at all, then it's gonna last. But if you take small steps to getting up out the storm, when you out of it, you see victory, you like, all right, cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So even with me, like now, so I was at the daycare that I was there for 5 years.
The one that you had got, the girl,
that my girlfriend introduced me to. So I'm not there no more.
Okay.
I was there for 5 years, and I had a pretty good experience. I did go through some stuff towards the end with the landlord, but I feel like some stuff you just can't get around, you know.
Especially when you got landlords, it's always some stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's better to own your stuff. Yeah. I'm actually an advocate for both, but
I'm super advocate for both.
Yeah, you just gotta really know what you're getting yourself into. But I knew that I couldn't stay there any longer. I knew when my lease was up, I was outgrowing the space. My childcare center always had a high demand. The wait list was always long. I'm super grateful for that. So I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm looking for a space to rent. And couldn't find nothing. Yeah. Couldn't find nothing to rent in the entire city. I'm like, this is crazy. I have to get out of this building. I cannot stay here. My girlfriend Jasmine, you know Jazz. Yeah. She like, just buy some. I'm like, who?
That sounds just like, man. That sounds just like
buy something.
Voice and all sound just like her.
I said, who? I just bought my personal home in February of that year. I'm like, dude, I'm
not in that space right now.
Like, no. She like, well, I see this building over here. It's been on the market for some time. That
sound just like her.
She says, so I think you should go take a look at it. I'm like, I just bought the house in February. So this is probably like, let's say April, May. She like, well, I think the building is not too far from your old space. You can move your kids right over, blah, blah, blah. She's making it seem like it's just going to be this easy thing. So I'm like,
all you got to do is.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'm desperate at this point. I'm like, let me see if I'm going to be able to get approved for this building. The building was listed for $500,000. So I'm like, I don't know, talk to my partner, my life partner, my husband. I talked to him and I'm like, what you think? He just as worse as her. He like, I'm just gonna lay my hands on it because if God say we can have it, God say touch a degree. So I'm gonna go touch and put my hand on it. So I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, all right. So I go over there to the building. The building is a complete shell, but the building also came with it's a total of 4 addresses, 4 parcels. So I'm like, not for $500,000, you just get the building, you get land. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, I ain't got a foul ball. I can't do no foul ball right now. This is like $500,000. This is like a lot. Yeah. So go over to the building, look at the building. I'm like, wow, I can really see the potential of this space. I remember telling you about the building briefly. Go over there. I was like, all right, let's do it. I wrote a letter to the lady, basically telling her, the seller. I'm like, listen, this is who I am.
A lot of people don't know that game right there.
I've been in business for a long time. I gave her my whole MO. I'm in ministry. I'm a God-fearing woman. I'll give back to the community all the time. I have already an established childcare center, and I want to make this a childcare center. I just poured my heart out in the letter. Yeah. I said, but I only can offer you $375,000. So she counter offered with $390,000, but she cried when she read my letter. She had 8 offers on that building. She declined all of them.
So it was meant for you. That's because
she had offers over asking.
Because it's meant for you.
I was like, when I got the news back, I literally cried. I don't even cry about much. I cried. Like I was like, oh my God. Like she accepted my offer. Go on the contract. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Like this is insane. Fast forward. I'm like, I don't got 20% though. I even don't even went through the 20%, $375 plus the rehab. I mean, you're looking at
you got a lot going on.
A lot, right?
You got a lot going on.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take my faith. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do it. End up getting with I have a connect that was doing my accounting. This goes back to having good network, right?
Yeah,
you gotta have good
even
people.
down to husband and Jasmine just support is all pieces in the environment because you wouldn't have did it if it wasn't for them. Not to say you wouldn't have did it, but probably wouldn't have went to that go check the place out to begin with.
Because I was already like, no,
exactly. All them little pieces come together.
Yeah. So my accountant, he like, I got a guy I can introduce you to. He do all the funding. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you 3 people. He's like, but I think that shit got there. So I'm like, all right, call a guy. First conversation I had with him, he said, I don't even know you, but his story, just everything. He said, I'm going to get you the building. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right. God-fearing God too. Just real authentic, thorough conversation. Sometimes you come across people and y'all just gel and y'all just want to help each other.
Yeah.
Everybody not out to get you. And you kind of learn that as you go. But there's some people out here that genuinely want to help you. So with him, we on the phone. He like, I'm gonna get you funny. I need send a list. Need X, Y, Z. So I'm like, oh my God. So we going through the stuff. I had my paperwork right though, because I've been in business for some time. So I got an accountant. I got all my stuff in order. But it's just a lot. They like the underwriters like the men in black. They ain't in your business. They want to know everything.
Underwriters bullshit. It's bullshit.
It's insane. It's really insane. I think most of my stress through that purchase was.
And then they asking for the same thing 3 different ways, and then 3 different times over again. Underwriter is rough. They
was burning me out. So we get into bodybuilding or whatever. We go through the process. I was able to close with a very low amount. I was so grateful for that. I actually was also able to obtain working capital and purchase and equipment costs. So this was a really huge deal for me. My biggest deal to date, because it allowed me to pretty much obtain anything I wanted, like create the dream center that I wanted. My center is a 5-star center. It is amazing. And we have an astronomical wait list, and sometimes I'm like, I can't even understand. I'm like, we need some more space. But the whole thing, it just all goes back to just like, it really goes back to just the goal all along is staying consistent through everything. It's never like stopping, regardless of what comes your way. And I feel like it was so many times, like I even wanted to quit. I was going to close my other daycare and just like, I'm just going to do something else because I was going through stuff over there. But a lot of that stuff is just be a tax.
Yeah.
It'd be a tax to try to take you off the path that God has for you. So I got my center, purchased my building. We went in there. My husband is a contractor. So he did all the work. So I'm blessed with that. But we still had to gather them coins together. Yeah. That was a huge renovation. The building was a shell, basically. I mean, and honestly, I think some people would have did less than.
I saw them before pictures. It was rough.
It was rough.
That one was definitely rough.
But we did our big one in there.
Yeah, no, it look amazing now. So I got 2 questions, right? Well, 1 question, 1 statement. That write the letter thing, people sleep on that.
They do.
Let me ask you this: was the seller older?
Yes.
A lot of the houses that I buy, so when I look for my properties, majority of houses I buy are from older homeowners, and the reason why I target them like this is a strategy is because
I love that. Though.
A lot of everything got specific. In order to be prolific, you gotta be specific. So the reason why I do that is because a lot of older homeowners, it's not just about the money. Yeah. You dealing with people like our age and stuff like the bread gotta be right. When you deal with older homeowners, 9 times out of 10, they own the thing outright, or they mortgage is so low to where I can really, I'm not stressed. Like, let's say they want $500 for the building. Somebody our age might have owed $480 on it. I can't take. I got to pay off a loan. That older homeowner probably owed $100,000. If
she was actually at that building for 30 years.
Probably owed nothing on it.
I don't think she owed anything because from my understanding, it was her retirement money. Yeah, like her money to play around with.
Yeah. So that work out like that. And then the other piece is that the letter thing, like I do stuff like that because now it ties that emotional thing. Like a lot of the houses I bought in the past, when I meet with the homeowners, they say the same thing every time. I really wanted to get this to my son, but I don't trust him with this type of thing. I really want to get my grandson, but I don't trust him with this type of thing. I wish you were like I wish my son was like you.
Yeah.
I have to give it to you. I have to give it to you.
And our people, we really truly want to help each other. She also was an older Black woman.
That's a fact. So
yeah. She said she's seen herself in me.
They all say the same crap. So like people that's watching is like, when you talk to older homers, like don't just try to cocky and just throw some money out there. Like try to paint the whole picture, which you did. And my second question is, what kind of loan did you get? Because that's a commercial, but what kind of loan did you get for that?
So I have an SBA loan.
That's smart. A lot of people's finessing them the whole time.
You know why? You know what's crazy? I always have this conversation. During the pandemic, I never took an SBA loan. Like,
that probably worked out in your favor.
It worked out in my favor. Honestly, I don't even think that I was even, because you figure I was coming out of that down season. So I don't even think I probably would have been eligible for SBA loan. Yeah. Like just based on my credit and where I was at, you know, but I didn't, you know, I think I took my little, I took my little 20K they was given for, you know, and you know, I had an Airbnb, but I took that 20K and opened my Airbnb. See, the thing with me that people don't do, I don't feel like a lot of people do. When they come up with some money, they go spend it. Yeah. I'm the complete opposite. I come up and I invest. So I took my 20K that I got through the little pandemic, the little 885, whatever they was giving. I opened my Airbnb. And the Airbnb made me so much money. For what? I had it for 2 years. I closed it now, but I had it for 2 years.
That's because people think they earned something they didn't earn. Oh, I just came up 20. Man, I've been chilling for like 2 weeks. I deserve to go buy something. Like
they take money and then they just spend it the moment that they get it. You Majority
know, people do that.
But I actually didn't take the SBA loan during the pandemic, so that a lot of people was milking it. So it did work out in my favor. I actually didn't even apply for it because I just thought I wasn't eligible. Yeah. However, I do probably messed up your process of buying a house if you would have had that on your back. Could have. So I do have I have an SBA loan.
Is it a 7A?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they broke it down. I'm actually gonna probably refinance that. Okay. Out soon. But it was a pretty smooth process. I will say with commercial, it take 90 days to close. Yeah. So it's a longer closing process. And it's just, you know, they just ask for a lot of information. But you know, I encourage people to purchase. You know, I love owning my building. I love it. And then on top of that, my building, I had it for like a year now. The equity is now.
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to stop. Just about to ask you. How much is it worth now?
Yeah, the equity doubled. So it's worth $800,000, and I still have a lot. So I am going to, my long-term goal is to become a developer. So I'm going to take my lot and put some apartments over there, but I do want it to be senior housing. Yeah, that's like my heart. You know, when it comes down to business too, I feel like the emotions, the woman emotions, that's where it ties in for me. You know, children, I take so much pride in my center because I'm not allowing no BS to go down there. I'm not hiring anybody. I'm not letting my staff do anything. Even when it comes down to the parents, I challenge them sometimes.
I think that's good.
You know, because they need the help. At the end of the day, especially when you're in the hood, a lot of times they don't have the resources. They may be single moms. They just may not know. Right? So, you got to have compassion. And, you know, you got to have compassion. You know, childcare, people look at childcare and they think it's like, you make so much money and this and that. You do make money, but you have to have a purpose behind it. Yeah. You have to genuinely want to help the parents, the kids. You got to love doing it. You know, you can't just, if you go in it for the money, it's not going to work.
Everybody I know that's in childcare say that same thing. If you don't go in it, if you only going for money, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work because it's a lot of work. Yeah,
and I seen a lot of people get shut down too. So that means not shut down or don't complete it. I don't know why they shut down, but
because they're chasing the coin, and you can't do anything like childcare without your heart being in it. Yes, you gotta be a great business person. You got to have strategy. You still have to have the business side. You still have to do all these things. But ultimately, it comes down to the type of person that you are. You know, I was just telling, I have a new staff. I was telling her the other day, she couldn't believe our Valentine's Day. I said, because any moment I have to celebrate the kids or the families, I do.
That's dope.
I don't put it all in my pocket.
Yeah.
If you could look on our page, our Christmas, the kids didn't need anything else from their parents.
That's dope.
If the parents didn't have it, the
dope.
kids got it from the center.
Sidebar: do you guys give like gifts to the kids just in general, or do y'all need toys and stuff at the center? No, I don't say need, but y'all take toys. I got a lot of toys.
Yeah.
When we had our Christmas drive, I personally bought a shit ton of toys, and then at the last minute, all these people started donating. I literally got a whole
we take stuff all the time
toys.
because you know
you can have
the kids
them. They're just sitting there.
The stuff get wear and tear, so we throw out stuff. So we
and it's
always
all quality
need,
in the box. Yeah,
please drop it off. And I'll get around to it, but I'm opening up a new daycare too, so we'll talk about that. But I'll kindly take your donations.
Yeah, I'll organize it, but it's a lot. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I like that. First of all, I like your whole. The one thing I get from you is one, the faith, the environment that you have around you, but then also the ability to pivot.
Yeah.
And try new things, like from pivoting to getting into the event space business in general was dope. Pivoting into getting into the daycare business, but then pivoting into, you know what, let me take ownership. Like, even though you still got into the same business, like going from renting to owning, especially at that level, it takes a lot of courage. And I think a lot of people don't really go to that next level because they're scared to switch gears or get into a new lane. But that new lane is probably what's going to 10x you. So that's what I see with you.
Yeah, I think pivoting is like, I'm not scared to pivot. Yeah. A lot of people are. I'm going to make it work by any means necessary. My girlfriend called me to pivot. She's like, girl, you know how to pivot. Because even when the venue closed, but I still have to build in. And my faith for sure, because I prayed on what to do next. Yeah. Because I'm like, what am I to do with this building? I'm not getting rid of it because Baltimore Avenue is like, that's my stomping grounds for me. Yeah. I feel like I was the first person over there. You know, and I was the first business that really was operating before Booker's and all these other places came, you know. And I'm like, I'm not getting rid of this. This is my space. So prayed on it, did a 30-day fast, and I came up with Salon Suites. But God actually told me, Salon, you know, you could do something around salon, hair salon. I didn't want it to do a basic open salon because I'm not a hairstylist. Yeah. I don't sell any hair products or anything like that. But I was like, what can, you know, all the girls like to be entrepreneurs right now. So let's give them a suite. You know, let's give them their own space. So they all have their own space. I only was able to put 3 in there, but it works. Yeah. You know, $275 a week.
As long as it makes sense and everything not $1 million play.
Everything is not.
People get that confused. They think every move got to be $1 million move. Like if I make a couple thousand over here, but I don't got to be there. Yeah, I take that. I make 10,000 over here, but I don't got to be there. I take that. Then this can be the actual $1 million move. But if you're making pieces over here,
but listen, if it's like this, you know, can pay 1 bill, or this can pay 2 bills. You know, at the end of the day, you want to be financially free. You don't want to be able, you know, you invest in yourself, everything, like, you know, the childcare, to this, to that. Listen, I will say this. I don't like people who confuse their brands by having all these different, you know, they have all these different businesses. Like they do this. I don't like that. I think it's confusion to your consumers and to people who trying to buy into you. Like you said, you said something earlier about 7 people seeing you 7 times.
Before someone taps into you, like for whatever level or whatever you're offering, they need to be touched 7 different times.
So I feel like even in that touch of 7 different times, it needs to be consistent across the board.
Oh yeah,
right? Because a lot of people,
they have 7 different conversations.
Yeah, they're like, well, what is it? Yeah, what is it that you do, right? So for me, while I do pivot, and the Salon Suites is totally off brand for what I do. I feel like as far as like childcare and just being but I am
That's real estate.
It's real estate.
You're not a hairstylist.
No,
I'm
that is
providing
real
a
estate,
building.
right? So for me, you know, when it comes down to my niche and things like that, it is to help women and just be a woman that somebody can look at me and say, you know what, this lady know how to build wealth. Because for me, it's building the wealth, the generational wealth along the board. It's not just, you know, trying to do all these different things. It's not. It is, okay, she make money here, she make money here, she did this small step here, she did this small step here, she showed the person how to do this here, and then she has this one big thing. You know what I'm saying? I think wealth building is very important. Super important. It is very important, you know, and it starts with small plays. You're not going to just jump into it.
It's called flipping up. Start out here.
You're not going to just jump into it and become a millionaire. It takes time.
No, it takes time.
I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years. And I feel like last year was probably my first year of really like, I'm finally a 7-figure person.
That's love.
But it took me 14 years.
People don't see. They say 10.
Well, I was making money. I was making money along the way, but now I feel like I'm like, you know. Yeah. And from here, I should only be going up. Even if I take a loss in something that I already did, it's gonna happen. Because losses happen. Yeah. It shouldn't be a complete loss like before. It might just be a little dip. Because you set up. You know why? Because over the last couple of years, from what you told me, you set up now ownership and more stability. Yeah. So even when, like, for example, like I might have a building and let's say tenants move out. Let's say I got a triplex. Tenants move out. Yeah, I might take a little loss from rents coming in, but my wealth is still being created. Yeah. Because I own the building, and real estate goes up every single year just by default. Yeah. So now so for you might take a little loss, but the wealth is still there because you transition to, okay, how can I own these things? And wealth is long term. Yeah. You know, when little Boone grows up, you know, he's going to benefit from that, and God willing, you know, his children. Because somebody has. I can't even. But listen, that just messed me. I can't even think shit. But listen, that's how, you know, other people do it. You know, their children are born into wealth. They don't have to do. You know, I seen a post on Facebook today about how this guy. He's like, I didn't know how bougie my son was because he got on the train and he was like, Dad, never again. And I chuckled because we stayed on the train. Right. And then my son, yesterday, I took him to the Super Bowl parade. He said, oh my God, I'm about to die from secondhand smoke because he never smoked weed before. And that's like a flex really for us. Like it's small stuff like that. We walk from the parkway all the way down to 8th and Spring Garden because that's where I park in the projects. That's where I'm comfortable at. I park my car in the projects. There's nowhere else to park up that way. So I said, I'm parking the projects and I'm going to walk to the parkway. Yeah. We walked all the way down. He said, can we take a break? Our kids is never going to experience the life that we experience.
My son is definitely. And
at the end of the day, we want them to have balance. We're going to teach them the ropes and things like that. But a lot of the lives that we live, we grew up we have this hustle response to not being broke. You know, we have this I got to go get it mentality because we don't want to ever live like that again. And we don't want our kids to live like that again. So building generational wealth, like we may not even see all the benefits of the things that we're doing now, but your kids and your kids will.
I think too, that's a freaking fact. But as you saying that made me think back to some things. Like our kids are definitely in a whole different space. Like I got a couple different cars. So my son, he would literally be inside a car and he was like, I don't want this car. Like, can we drive the other car? And then I got a driver. Then he'll literally be like, take me here. Yo, who you talking to? Yeah. Oh, mister, can we go to the store, get some candy? Yeah. Like these kids.
You gotta bring them back sometime, because bring a little bit of that old school back. Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. But they definitely, these kids is funny, but so smart though. Yeah. So smart.
We're blessed to be able to create a different lifestyle for them. But that's what, I think what people need to keep that in mind when they're making these moves. Because even if you can't necessarily get everything that you want out of this life for you, you can at least create it for those that come behind you.
That's smart. I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot. I think if anybody ain't hear nothing, I think that's what they should listen to from this. Mm-hmm. So I want before we close, I want to ask you. So I know you got a lot of different things you're doing. First of all, your story is amazing.
Thank you.
I know a little bit of stuff, but from what you told me, but like hearing the whole thing in one line was dope. So I appreciate that. But you help out a lot of women a lot. So I want to hear, what do you have going on in reference to that? So I know it's more public now.
Yeah.
That you helping.
Yeah, because I've been doing it behind the scenes for so long.
Yeah. I've been telling you, like, you can change a couple of lives, you might as well.
I know. So I have an organization called Womanhood. Womanhood is near and dear to my heart because all the things I just told you about regarding me, a lot of women are going through the same things and they don't know how to, they just don't know where to start, right? Or even if they have a little bit of a start, they start a little bit, then they get discouraged and they start scaling back, or they start doing this and they think it's not good enough because of whatever thoughts that they have in their mind. They have not been able to build a strong mindset. Maybe because it was friends or family, or maybe they don't have a support system, or maybe they made some mistakes in the past and they just feel like they're not worthy of doing anything. So I created a space. I created an organization called Womanhood. Back in 2019, around the time I was going through my postpartum with my daughter. And I was like, it was around that time when I was telling you, oh, I'm being a mom, I'm being a wife, I'm this, that, and the third. Like there's so much going on. Like, how am I supposed to do all of this, right? But I knew I didn't want my whole personality to be wife, or my whole personality to be mom, or my whole personality to be like I had kids and I fell off. Now I look a mess. A lot of women give up on them or their goals and dreams because they became a mom, or they became a wife, or they feel like it's too late, or they feel like nobody's going to help me. So Womanhood is just a place. I'm building the organization back up. We recently started talking about it at the end of last year. An organization is just going to be a safe space for women. It is faith-based. My whole entire life is funded by God.
Even from the story, just different pieces. God is always included, but even like some of the things you stated,
you can just tell.
Yeah.
Like it's like sometimes people don't never understand your faith walk because they don't know your story. But you'd be like, yo, if you went through the things I went through, you know that God kept me through it all. It had to be something other than me. Yeah. So my whole goal is to teach women how to elevate in them lives across the board with God by their side. Elevate. I like that. So it's a faith-based organization that's going to be focused on motherhood, financial freedom, wealth building, and business. So the business side is going to be where women who want to start a business, we're going to help them. We're going to give them every step to start their business, from fixing their credit to funding their goals and dreams, and just putting them in spaces and networks where they can elevate, giving them the entire blueprint to go from here to here. Okay. The motherhood side. Oh, you know what? Another part is mental health.
That's super,
mental health.
super important.
So a lot of the different things will tie into together. So we're going to say, for instance, you send somebody to me. Okay. I'm going to assess their entire, they're going to tell me everything. I'm like, you know what? I think first we need to get you healed. Because sometimes if you are traumatized in something, it could be your parents, it could be your relationship, it could be things that you've done in the past, it could be mistakes, it could be anything that you went through. If that traumatized you, your mindset is done.
Yeah, I always say you can't.
That's the first step.
Your home not right. In home, I'm talking about like here. Yeah, not right.
Yeah, that's the first step. So if she comes to me and she tell me that she just can't see herself, and she shot out from her brain, like she just can't get herself together. I'm like, sis, all right, I'm gonna put you with my therapist.
Yeah, step one.
Okay. So step one is therapy. From there, when you get healed, now we're gonna revisit, because one thing, if your mind is corrupt, you can't run no business.
You can't. Your home not right. You can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing, right? So, and if it's just a woman who may, you know, you may have this woman who went to school, went to college, has a degree, great mom, you know, things like that, but she just don't know where to go because she's just juggling all these different things. I'll then pull her in and say, okay, this is what I believe that needs to happen. So a lot of this stuff is going to be not just, it's based off of my own personal experience, but it's also, I have a network of people that's going to help me grow womanhood. So I'm going to have a therapist on my team. Okay. I'm going to have a credit repair specialist on my team. I'm going to have basically someone that can help everybody in every area of their lives. Okay. I'll be the first person to help them, and then I'll be able to push them out to people, but they'll stay within the organization.
That's good.
So I'm building a program around that. We're having our first event in March. I'm super excited about that. It's next month. The event, I can't wait for the event, honestly. The last event had 150 women, and they was in here crying.
That's lit.
It was like life-changing. People said they wish it went longer. I was like, we was here for 4 hours, but we're going to have a brunch. It's going to be in a luxury venue.
Premium.
Yes, we're not doing
premium.
We don't want to go in the hood this time.
Premium.
I love the hood, but we're not going to the hood this time. It's going to be in Cherry Hill. We actually have some amazing speakers. One of my speakers, I don't know, you might have not heard of her brand, but because you're a woman. I mean, you're not a woman. Salt XO. Her name
I know
is
a lot of people, but no.
Yeah. She's a young lady. She's 30, but she has a 9-figure brand where she basically calls herself the healer. She make body soups and she get the girls together.
That's love. So if there's anything that I can add to that, like, you know, anything, just not I'm talking about the event, well, that too, but anything involving helping, definitely let me know, like, if you need me to come speak about anything or help with anything or whatever,
we're going to have so many resources, and this, although it's for women, we will have men. My accountant is a sponsor, so maybe you guys can sponsor too. We're always we always want the woman to have as many resources as possible. At the end of the day, we're going to give them to you. They're going to have to take the step to get to the next step. But if they're willing and want it, I'm going to give it to you.
That's love.
You know, and I'm super excited for where womanhood is going to go.
That's love. So how can someone tap in with you in general, with Womanhood, and with the event?
So you can tap in with me on Instagram, Katrina, KA_TRINA, or at Womanhood 3_org. You can contact me on either one of the pages. We're going to be launching a YouTube soon, so that's going to be super exciting. We just working around getting our content together. You know, I'm not really a content girly. I'm trying to get there.
It's about to change. Once you do all that's about to, it's going, just from getting the footage from all these different things, it's going to happen naturally. But it's going to happen in your way.
That's for sure. You know, and I think, you know, I'm not a person who needs to be seen all the time, but I know where I want to take
you're going to have to be seen.
Womanhood, I can't keep hiding. But you know, I have a story. I have a story to tell. And honestly, I want people, you know, there's so much we didn't talk about, but I really want the woman to be able to see me and be like, you know what, I can relate to her. She done been through some things. She done did some things. She done got through some things. I need to be, you know, in her space.
That's love.
Because my goal is to genuinely help my sisters. You know, I want them. That's my whole purpose in life right now. It's just to help them. You know, I think God has blessed me so much with my family, my friends, my businesses, everything like that. I know that, you know, my purpose is to help.
That's love.
The girls, and I'm excited to do that.
That's love. So I appreciate you for coming on here. I appreciate you sharing your story. I think this is amazing. Like, I've known you for some time now, but even hearing everything all at one stretch I enjoyed it. I feel like everybody else is going to enjoy this as well. But everybody that's tapped in, everybody's watching this, make sure you tap in with her, make sure you tap in with Womanhood. Because it's just, if you listen to, like, what I got from this is just environment. You know, every stage in your life, somebody suggested something, or somebody, inspire something, or somebody just said you should do it. So what I take from this is being able to pivot, being able to have good people around you, that environment, and then also having that faith of just actually taking that shot. So again, thank you for being on here.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'm excited to see how far you just go, but then also women go together.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, for sure.